Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to film a summer reading TBR video. So these are books that are on my radar to read this summer. I really doubt that I'm going to get through even half of these books, but I couldn't narrow it down. One of my favorite things to do at the beginning of the season is just create a list of all the books that have been on my radar that feel seasonally appropriate. And I also love going to my library and see what they have in stock. And I usually check out a big stack of books from my library, pull books that I currently own off my shelf, and then kind of supplement with books on my Kindle. So I'll go through all the books I was able to check out from my library, the books that I currently owned, and then the books I have on my Kindle that are on my radar for summer 2026. So let's just start with the book that I just finished. And this is the new Abby Jimenez book, The Night We Met. And this was a really good book. I actually rated it a 5-star on Goodreads. And this one is about a girl who is dating a gentleman, and that guy kind of forces time with her and his best friend, and the best friend is big into acts of service. The actual boyfriend has a lot of personal stuff going on in his life, and he's not a very good match for her. So it's kind of about the messiness of that situation and how they're navigating it. And it was a really good book. So I highly recommend it if you like Abby Jimenez. I think that you'll really like this book. But yeah, that was my number one on my reading list this summer. The next one is the new Carly Fortune. I'm currently reading this one. You can see I'm about maybe a fifth of the way through. It's Our Perfect Storm. And this book is about starts off with the main character, Frankie, and she is essentially left at the altar. It's her wedding weekend. Her fiance leaves her like the morning of the wedding and says he doesn't want to get married. And so her best friend that she's been childhood friends with forever convinces her to go on her honeymoon since it was already paid for, and he joins her on that. So it's about their navigating their friendship history and kind of like her grief from being left at the altar. But Our Perfect Storm, Carly Fortune, she's a great summer author, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And then the rest of them I haven't started, obviously. So the next one is the first book in the Lakefront Billionaires series, and it's called Love Redesigned, and it's by Lauren Asher. And I have no idea what this is about. I'll just read the back. Julian, it says, if I ever caught on fire, Dahlia Munoz would fan the flames with a smile. So when she returns to Lake Wisteria, I fully intend to avoid the interior designer, at least until my meddling mother exploits my savior complex. The faster I help Dahlia find her creative spark, the sooner she will leave town. But while I was busy getting rid of Dahlia, I overlooked one potential issue. What happens if I want her to stay? So it sounds like an enemies to lovers type story. And I've heard really good things about this, this series. I read one of her other series and I enjoyed it. So this is the first book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. The next book is another Carly Fortune book, and this was her release from last summer, and it was like everybody's favorite read from the summer, it seems like, and it's One Golden Summer. I actually had this on my list for last year, if you watched my video from last summer, but I never got around to reading it before I had to return it. So hopefully it'll be at the top of my list this summer. So this is about Charlie Florrick, who is the brother of the main character in Every Summer After, and right? Is it Every Summer After? Anyway, and so it follows him on that same lake, and it's about a relationship that he has with a girl that is there staying with her grandmother. So it says, Charlie Florrick was 19 when Alice took his photo from afar. Now he's all grown up, a shameless flirt who manages to make Nan laugh and Alice long to be 17 again. When life was simpler, when taking pictures was just fun, sun-slanted days and warm nights out on the lake with Charlie are a balm for Alice's soul. So excited to read that book. The next one is by Lauren Connolly, and it's P.S. I Hate You. And I've heard some good things about this book as well. Maddie Sanderson would be proud to honor her older brother's dying wish that she scatter his ashes over 8 destinations with the adventurous 29-year-old never got to visit before he died from cancer. But in his will, Josh assigned her an impossible partner to help complete the mission. Dominic Perry. Seriously, if Maddie weren't already at her brother's funeral, she would kill him for this. So it sounds like brother's best friend, enemies to lovers kind of story. And I've heard this is really a sweet book. So P.S. I Hate You is on the list. The next one has been on my radar for several years, and it's made my kind of yearly TBR list for the last couple of years, not necessarily just in summer, but I figured it would be a fun summer read. And it's the book Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. And this is just a coming of age story. My understanding of it is this 14-year-old Mary Jane lives with kind of more of a strict conservative family, and she babysits for a family that is the opposite of that. And it's just her being exposed to things that maybe she's not in her house, exposed to it like her home. And I don't know what she learns, I guess, in that experience. I've heard really good things about it. The next book, gosh, I'm running out of room here, is The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. So I've read several other books by Sarah Adams, and I really enjoy her stories. So this one says, let's see. Nora McKenzie's entire career lies in the hands of famous NFL tight end Derek Pender, who happens to be her extremely hot college ex-boyfriend. Nora didn't end things as gracefully as she could have back then, and now it has come to haunt her. Derek is her first client as an official full-time sports agent, and he's holding a grudge. So, is that what this book is about? It shows a football player on the front. No, that is the description for the rule book. I'm pretty positive. Oh, this is the rule book. Okay. I don't think I've read this one before. Now, like when reading that description, it sounds familiar. Oh yeah. NFL tight end. Perfect. Football. Good. The other one was a hockey book. I think has a similar, the cheat sheet. That's the one I'm thinking of. Okay. I read the cheat sheet. I haven't read the rule book. I'm excited to read this. Again, it's been on my radar for a couple of years. The next book, The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. And I've read a couple of books by Christina Lauren before. So essentially in this book, it's a college, Anne Green, when she was in college, she married Liam West for access to subsidized family housing while at UCLA. She also thought she signed the divorce papers when the graduation caps were tossed, and they both went on their way. 3 years later, Anna is a starving artist living paycheck to paycheck, and while Liam is a Stanford professor, he may be one of 4 heirs to the Weston Foods conglomerate, but he has little interest in working for the heartless corporation his family built from the ground up. Due to a clause, Liam can't claim his money until he's been happily married for 5 years. So it's like a fake dating book. And I've heard really good things. People say they laugh out loud in this story. So I'm excited to read that. And then my final book that I got from the library is The God of the Woods. And this is kind of a mystery thriller book to mix it up. A lot of these are like romance, kind of easy, fluffy reads. But this one says, early morning, August 1975, a camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She's the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and employs most of the region's residents. Another child had disappeared from this camp, which was also a member of that family. So it's a mystery solving what's happening at the camp. So The God of the Woods, it says it's a New York Times bestseller, and I've heard good things about that book. All right, now let's look at my Kindle. Take a drink of my coffee. So the books that I have on my Kindle for this summer, it's gotta wake up here. I have 7 books, and again, I'm not going to get to these. One of them is the rule book, so I actually have that on my e-reader as well. You with a View by Jessica Joyce. A Photo Finish. So Elsie Silver, she wrote the Chestnut Spring series, and then she also has another series. The first book is A Photo Finish. There's Out of the Gate, A False Start, The Front Runner, and Off to the Races. So really on my e-reader, I have You with a View, and then that series by Elsie Silver. So those are the options I have for my Kindle. And then lastly, I have 10 or 11 books that I pulled off my shelf. Let me grab them. Oops, try not to knock into you. Here we go. The first one is a Kristen Hanna book called Summer Island. So I've only ever read The Nightingale from Kristen Hanna, and it was beautiful, but it was just gut-wrenchingly sad. So I'm hoping this is not the same. All of her books are pretty emotional reads, but I'm hoping it's not as emotional as The Nightingale. So it says, years ago, Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a celebrity radio talk show host and newspaper columnist, beloved for her moral advice. Her younger daughter, Ruby, is a struggling comedian who uses her famous mother as fuel for her bitter, cynical humor. When the tabloids unearth a scandal in Nora's past, her career implodes and Ruby gets her big break. She's offered a fortune to write an unflattering tell-all article about her mother. Under false pretenses, Ruby returns home to talk to the woman she hasn't spoken to for almost a decade. Home to the house on Summer Island, where Ruby grew up, a place filled with childhood memories of love and joy and belonging. There, as Ruby is reunited with old friends, what began as an expose evolves into an exploration of her family's troubled past. So, more of a serious read, but when I want to break up kind of the reading of the light and fluffy, that'll be a good one to read. This one is near the top of my list as well. This is Haley Pham's book, Just Friends. And it's about two best friends, Blair and Declan, and about, finding their way to each other. So I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I love Haley Pham. I love Ryan Trahan. So I'm excited to read that one. I would say that book and One Golden Summer are near the top of my list. The next one is by Alex Astor, and it's Summer in the City. And let's see. This one is about, 27-year-old screenwriter Elle has the chance of a lifetime to write a big budget movie set in New York City. The only problem, she's had writer's block for months and her screenplay is due at the end of the summer. In a desperate attempt to get inspiration, Elle ends up back in the city she swore she would never return to, in an apartment she could never afford. It's the perfect place to write her screenplay until she realizes her new neighbor is tech billionaire bachelor Parker Warren. Her stairwell hookup from 2 years ago. It's been a lovers to enemies situation ever since. When seeing him again turns into a full night of hate-fueled writing, Elle realizes her enemy-twisted muse just might be the key to finishing her screenplay. If she can stand being around her polar opposite, she writes anonymously, and he's on the cover of every business magazine. He frequents fancy red carpet events, and she doesn't like leaving her emotional support 5-block radius. One summer, one wall apart, he needs to fake a buzzy relationship during his company's precarious acquisition. She needs to write a movie around a list of NYC locations. Both need a break from their unrelenting schedules and a chance to rediscover the skyscraper glimmering, pizza-crusted, sunlit charms of the city. So, sounds good. It sounds like kind of fake dating, enemies to lovers, that kind of storyline. So that one. Another Christina Lauren, The Unhoneymooners, and I think this one is let's see, everybody at a wedding I think gets like food poisoning, and the maid of honor and best man go off on the honeymoon because they're the only ones that didn't get sick, right? I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this book is about. And again, I've heard great things about that book. The next book is by Jennifer Weiner. So she's an author that I used to read all the time. And I haven't read anything from her in a very long time. And I'm curious if I'll still enjoy her writing. But this is called The Summer Place. And she writes a little bit more like women's fiction type books. So Sarah Danhauser is shocked when her 22-year-old stepdaughter announces her engagement to her pandemic boyfriend. Headstrong Ruby has already set a date just 3 months away and spoken to Sarah's mother, Veronica, about having the wedding at the family's beach house on Cape Cod. Sarah might be worried, but Veronica is thrilled to be bringing the family together one last time before putting the big house on the market. As the wedding date approaches, lovers are revealed as their true selves, misunderstandings take on a life of their own, and secrets come to light. So, sounds like lots of family drama. Excited. Sounds like an easy beach read. Catherine Center is my next book, and this is Happiness for Beginners, and I think they came out with a movie about this. So Helen Carpenter can't quite seem to bounce back. Newly divorced at 32, her life has fallen apart beyond her ability to put it together again. So when her annoying younger brother Duncan convinces her to sign up for a hardcore wilderness survival course in the backwoods of Wyoming, she hopes it'll be exactly what she needs. Instead, it's a disaster. It's nothing like what she wants or expects or anticipates. She doesn't anticipate the surprise summer blizzard, for example, or the blisters. So sounds like she's just going out on a backpacking camping trip, and it's kind of a finding yourself after a hard life season. So that should be an interesting book to read. Again, I want to read all of these books. I don't think there's any way I could possibly do that. Another book, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This is a mystery thriller. So it says, no one ever just disappears. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter, and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother, Laurel Mack, is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away. Because the eerily precocious Poppy is the spitting image of Ellie. And now, the unanswered questions she's tried so hard to put to rest begin haunting Laurel anew. Where did Ellie go? So, mystery book, sounds good. I think I've read a book by Lisa Jewell before and I enjoyed it. So I want to try to get to that one. This one I may or may not get to this summer. This is kind of towards the bottom of my list. I actually just picked it up at Goodwill, but it's by Ellen Hildebrand and it's called Barefoot. It says 3 women, 3 secrets, 1 long hot summer. So I really do enjoy Ellen Hildebrand. I've read Hotel Nantucket. I've read The 5-Star Weekend. I just read The Academy from her and I really enjoyed that one. So I have a feeling this would be equally as enjoyable read. 2 more. Passion Project by London Sperry. And this says Bennett Taylor should be living the best years of her life, but she's failing miserably. Emphasis on miserable. Adrift in NYC, she has no direction and no energy to find one. When Bennett is set up on a first date with Henry Adams, she drunkenly confesses that she's not ready to love again. In fact, she doesn't feel passion for anything. Not pottery, not sports, nothing. Irrepressibly adventurous, Henry offers to help Bennett uncover her passion for life. Every Saturday, they'll try a new activity as friends, of course. So we can see where that's going. That sounds good. And then lastly, this is by Jenna Evans Welch, and it's called Love and Gelato. And I think I just picked up the sequel to this one. Again, I get a lot of books at Goodwill, called Love and Olives. So this is the first one, I think, in the series. And there's another one called Love and Luck. I don't know if they're like, if it's an actual series or if it's just kind of standalone in the same kind of universe. It says, Lena is spending the summer in Tuscany, but she isn't in the mood for Italy's famous sunshine and fairy tale landscape. She's only there because it was her mother's dying wish that she get to know her father, but what kind of father isn't around for 16 years? All Lena wants to do is go back home, but then she's given a journal that her mom had kept when she lived in Italy. Suddenly, Lena's uncovering a magical world of secret romances, art, and hidden bakeries. A world that inspires her, along with the ever so charming Wren, to follow in her mother's footsteps and unearth a secret that has been kept for far too long. It's a secret that will change everything Lena knew about her mother, her father, and even herself. So, sounds, again, like a really easy, fun read for the summer. So those are all my books. Again, there's no way I'm getting to all of those. Let me know if you've read any of them, which ones I should prioritize, if you have any other recommendations for the summer. Kind of based on those books, you can see what I'm into reading in the summertime. And if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe and stick around. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.